Hey ho, let's go, folks. Happy Monday to everybody. Hope all you're doing well wherever you are. Welcome to Pugsley's Pit. I am Sean Pugsley Martin, coming to you on a Monday night, otherwise known as a pre-draft Monday night, asking you the question, where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Home game for me tonight, being at home. By way of introduction, I'm a freelance sports writer for the Albany Times-Union. Also be found as co-host of M&M Across the Board on a weekly basis with my good friends Eric and Ashley. You can follow the show on Twitter at Pugsley's Pit and taking the podcast on YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Tonight, we're going to get right to it. NFL draft. Lots going on. The draft starts on Thursday. And tonight, we're going to be joined by Bobby Thompson, an NFL journalist and a fan of the New England Patriots. So we're breaking ground tonight. I'm bringing in a Pats fan. But he's a wealth of information. He's a great follow on Twitter, and we'll get into that. I'm jealous of him. He's going to be heading to Vegas very, very soon for the draft. So with that, Bobby Thompson, welcome to the pit, my friend.
I'm very happy to be in the pit. I feel like I'm in Piper's pit right now, so it's really pretty cool.
Absolutely. Hey, when are you heading out to Vegas? Is that still on?
Oh, of course, yeah. I'm heading out on Wednesday, 12 o'clock Eastern time, and I land there around 1:45 their time. That's going to be for the next few days is going to be interesting to get used to. It's my first time in Las Vegas, so it's pretty cool. You know, always wanted to go to Vegas, and what better way than to go than this time? So
nothing wrong with that. It should be the pretty big spectacle that the league's got planned.
That's putting it mildly, my friend.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Get yourself a Derek Carr jersey, and you come on back home a Raider fan.
I appreciate the attempt, but I think I'm good.
Okay.
If I'm gonna get a Raiders jersey, I'm definitely going with it's either Devon for me. Oh, I like Derek Carr a lot. I think he's vastly underrated. I think he's really earned his respect, as he says himself. But if it were me, I would definitely go for Devontae, of course. How could you not? And for me, as we said off air before, my boy Hunter Renfrow.
Third and Renfrow. Hey, let's get right to the draft. What I'm hearing tonight, a lot of chatter about Trayvon Walker jumping up to that number one.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have my own thoughts on that, but I'd love to hear your opinion on him going first. I mean, he doesn't have the numbers.
No, he doesn't. When you look at it, the guy in 3 years had 9 sacks. He's averaging 3 sacks a year. So you're thinking to yourself, what warrants that now, if you were getting 9 sacks a year, I understand. I'd be like, this guy gets after the quarterback. Totally get it. Totally understand. This guy has 9 sacks in 3 years, not taking anything away from his talent. And so many other insiders have said this too, is he's not even the best player on that Georgia defense. He's not.
He's not.
No,
he's not.
Absolutely not. They were loaded with talent. The thing is, you know what? Maybe they see I know the Jaguars general manager, Balky, really likes him. Yeah. And it was reported this morning that Balky wants Trayvon Walker, but the big guy, Shad Khan, the owner, wants Aiden Christensen. And listen, when you're the owner, I think we all know what you're going with. To me, I'm going to tell you this. I think if they go Trayvon Walker first overall, I'm going to watch this guy like a hawk, especially since I live here in Florida. I want to see what warranted them taking him first overall. Yeah. Aiden Hutchinson, totally understand, totally agree. This guy's going to be an absolute stud. I will say the only thing about Hutchinson, he's got his wingspan isn't that big. It's small. A lot of I have somebody I talked to. They said he has like T-Rex arms. So his arms. I think it's kind of. I understand why they say that. It's because when you're a defensive end, you want your wingspan, to swing moves and everything like that. And he's got a very small wingspan, but I think he'll be just fine in the NFL. I think he's going to have a tremendous career. But I'll tell you this, the Jaguars really, and the fact that no one even caught, that's another topic that if you saw today, that a lot of teams are more interested than trading down than trading up.
Yeah.
It's something else.
That's one thing is I'm going to talk about. There's no stud player, no must have. If
No.
there's ever a year to draft for need, this is it.
Yeah,
When I
100%.
when I look at Walker, you look at Hutchinson. To me, I think a lot of teams get into trouble when they start looking at combine measurables versus game tape.
Yeah.
And that's what seems what this is, because you start watching the combine. Look, I'm all for fast 40 times, but they're wearing shorts and a t-shirt. They're not wearing a uniform. That's not football speed. Okay.
No,
Even some of these pro days you get with the quarterbacks, of course they're gonna look good on a pro day.
right.
What do they do on the field?
You know what? I agree with that 100%. I think, listen, when they go to the combine, let's be honest here. What is everyone looking for? They're looking at 40 times. That's a lot. The 40 times how fast you are, um, like how you measure out. I get it. Listen, nothing is better than game film. To me, I watch
Yeah.
game film too. Listen, at the combine, if somebody runs a 4.2 Tyreek Hill speed, or which Jameson Williams speed, which is something else too.
Yeah.
Um, that's something to, you know what, you watch the combine for that. That's why you watch it. The combine, everybody goes, what you watching the combine? Yeah, I want to see how fast he ran. That's everyone. That's all everyone cares about
Yeah.
with the combine. And I agree. I think game film is the best way to judge a player if they're good at something or not. When you're going up against somebody one on one, especially for like wide receivers. Like, I get it. Any wide receiver could catch balls no matter what when no one's covering them. I want to see what they do in coverage in terms of that. I want to see a running back that in the combine, you know, it's not going to measure unless he's got really bad ball security, fumbling. I want to see him go up against people and have the ball. That's a huge thing too. So I agree with you. I think that a lot of teams, a lot of general managers, a lot of people in the organization really look at the combine as, oh, this is what is going to sell me on him. Yeah, to
Yeah.
me, it, if I'm a scout and I'm going to scout you weekly on a weekly basis, and you're just lighting it up against the best competition, to me, if you at the combine struggle a little bit, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna be like, oh, he tested. It's just like
Right.
it's just like somebody in high school going to take the SATs. Not everybody's gonna pass the SATs with a top score. Some people are just bad test takers, and sometimes no, it's a test. That's what the combine is. It's a big test.
I think the one thing about the combine that could be undervalued, the interview process. You get to sit down with the
Yeah,
kids,
that's true.
and that's
That's
something
true.
you don't get reported on. So I think there's a value there, but I think largely with again, I think the combine has a purpose.
Hmm.
But if you get too caught up in the measurables, you got to look at the game film. I
Oh,
mean, you
100%.
just have to. And I'm just curious. One of my big pet peeves every year is the overvaluation of quarterbacks. Just because Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett is the best quarterback in the class doesn't necessarily make them a top 10 talent. It just means they're the best quarterback in the class. So you look at Willis, I'm a little worried about who he played against at Liberty. He's got all the tools. But if you look at last year's 5 first-round quarterbacks, you would take all 5 of those over any of these guys this year, and that would push them probably down into the late first or second round.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, last year's draft class with quarterbacks was one of the best we've seen in quite some time. And for the Patriots, listen, I'm so thankful every day that we were able to get Mac Jones. I love the guy.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna say, well, the Raiders don't have to worry about that for any time soon. So
Yeah.
the thing is with quarterbacks, listen, that's the number one position in on the team. Every is the quarterback position. You never know what you're gonna get. Uh, Malik Willis, yeah, did well at the Senior Bowl. Um, really opened eyes. Yeah, Liberty. No, I had a friend. I had someone I went to high school who went to Liberty and worked with the football team. And I was asking him about it, and he said the competition is tough. It's nothing like uh, the SEC. It's nothing like
Yeah.
ACC. I see what you're saying. Very, very. I agree with you 100%. I think he's got a lot of athleticism. I want to see what he does in the preseason this year. I'm going to really watch him, see
Yeah.
what he does. That's going to be a huge test as well, especially in training camp. For this quarterback class is, I hate to say this and forgive me for saying this, it's extremely weak.
Yeah,
Uh,
it is.
this is if you need a quarterback this year, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This is a bad year. And I find it funny how Mel Kiper said something about Mac Jones. He said literally, if Mac Jones was in this year's draft, he'd be like a top 3 pick, and I agree. I think he
He
would.
would.
And I think this year's draft class, I think keep an eye out for Desmond Ritter. He's somebody I think who could fly under the radar. Kenny Pickett has some upside, even though a lot of scouts don't think that he has that. Uh, Mike Corral, Sam Howell, they're okay. I mean, like nobody's really talking about them, and I get it. This draft is rich in corner. You need a cornerback, great draft to have one. You need a wide
Yeah.
receiver. Oh, you could find a stud in the 3rd and 4th round this year with a receiver.
Yeah.
Offensive line is pretty rich, but it's extremely poor in the quarterback market. And
Yeah.
teams like the Steelers, teams like the Lions, even the Saints, I think. Who else needs a quarterback? I'm drawing.
Tampa. Can I pick on Tampa?
No. Tampa's fine. Of course, the Tom Brady comes back, but they also have somebody who I think can really do some damage if you give him some time. Kyle Trask, I
Okay.
like him a lot. I think that Tampa they'll be okay with him after
They
Tom.
made a pretty good investment in him last year.
Oh yeah, high
Speaking of,
draft pick in him. Yeah, 100%.
speaking of quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield's out there. I mean, Seattle, any of the teams you named. I mean,
Seattle, that's true.
yeah. I mean, to me, he's got his drawbacks, but to me, a pissed off Baker Mayfield. If I need a quarterback, I'd rather have that than anything in the draft class this year. At least you know the
Yeah,
guy
no,
could play.
no,
He took the Browns to the playoffs.
100%. Yeah. It just didn't work out with the Browns, and I think we could all agree they kind of did him dirty in a way.
Yeah,
So,
I thought so. I thought so.
listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I keep it real. That's the way I am. Baker Mayfield, he took the team to the playoffs. He was he was okay. He's not somebody who I'm going to write and say, "Oh, I need this guy," but he could get the job done. He's proven it. I mean, he was the first overall pick for a reason that year, and that year when he went first overall, I was shocked. I didn't expect
Oh,
that.
right. Yeah.
But I agree. If you need a quarterback this year, instead of this draft class, go call up the Browns. I'm sure that they'll be more than happy. I think the other team, the Panthers, uh, I think Baker Mayfield somewhere we never know. For example, hey, he goes to Seattle, maybe he could be a different player. Maybe he
Maybe.
just didn't fit. He just didn't fit in Cleveland, and he had a lot of players and success around him. They built an offense, a strong O line for him. Well,
Yeah.
not. They had Odell, they had Jarvis. I mean, that fact that receiving core was filthy when they were healthy. But uh, wherever he goes, I think that he'll be decent. I'll say that.
Well, what I like about Baker is he could have turtled last year in the second week with that injury, and he
Right.
tried to play through it. And he played through it to the point where he killed his team. He,
Right.
he didn't kill his team, but he didn't help it because he was too injured to play. But he
Right.
killed himself with his fan base and the organization, and they didn't have the sense to pull him out. And I think honestly, if he had been let's say he had gotten the operation after week 2, week 3, I think he's still a quarterback.
Yeah, I agree.
It's very possible. It's very possible. The bad vibes would not have been there had they said, "Hey, look, the guy needs surgery. He's out for the year." It's the way it goes.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that it's unfortunate what happened with the Browns and Baker, but you know what? They say everything happens for a reason. They got
Way it
Deshaun
goes.
Watson. Now they got Mari Cooper, so they're pretty set for success, but we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. Debo Samuel, are you hearing anything with him? Is he going to be a Niner this time next week?
Listen, I will say this: if there's one team that's being extremely aggressive for him, it's the New York Jets. So if a trade happens, it's
Yeah.
going to be the Jets. Truth be told, nothing surprises me this offseason. I think this offseason took us by surprise. Nobody's safe. Anybody can be traded. Um, Personally, from my understanding, they want to be blown away by an offer. I feel like, you know what, they want something like similar to what the Chiefs got for Tyreek in a way.
Okay.
Especially, honestly, Debo is younger than Tyreek, so they're going to have to really be blown away. But John Lynch said it publicly, and we all see this. They say general managers say it publicly, and then the 2 days later they make a trade happen. So got to take it with a grain of salt. But truthfully, they like him a lot. Look at what he did last year, showed his versatility, and that's why he's upset. He's mad at his role. I've never heard of a player saying he's mad he doesn't want the ball. They used him as a hybrid player. They showed his versatility. I understand why he doesn't want to be like a hybrid because his injury history. But I think first, I think the 49ers realized, listen, their offensive firepower was kind of taking a hit. I'm going to say this. I think they're really lacking help at the receiver position. I know they have Ayuk, but they're really missing Kendrick Bourne, and that was the Patriots' gain. People don't understand. This guy was underrated for the 49ers, and you saw what he did with New England last year. He lit it up, and he's just going to get better. They lose Debo. This is huge. That's a huge loss. And I think John Lynch knows that. They're literally right now doing anything and everything they can to make sure that Debo's happy and to convince him to stay. And listen, Debo has no leverage here. He has none. It's all with the team. This is different than Devontae Adams or something like that. This is the 49ers. And if they don't want to trade him, they're just not going to trade him. But if anything happens, it's going to happen within the next 48 hours, I feel.
Yeah. Now, look, you're Tampa Bay. You're part of that. I have a question. Just tell me if I'm way off base here. I think Brady retired this year as a way to force his way out of Tampa. Didn't go along with Bruce Arians.
No, I wouldn't read too much into that. He loved Bruce Arians. They might have disagreed with maybe some game plans here and there, but listen,
coaches and quarterbacks aren't always going to go along either.
I mean, look at Tom and Bill. Look at Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and they won 6 Super Bowls together. So, there was a time when they didn't really talk that much, and they were just still winning. It's a business. I don't believe that at all for 1 second. I'm not
blowing my narrative out of the water here.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to do that, man. I'm so sorry. I don't really agree with I'm not trying to discredit anybody's reporting at all. I would never do that. But when I heard that, it just doesn't seem right to me. It just doesn't feel right. Why would he leave a situation in Tampa? I understand you want to retire, but I think that was a little bit premature because the media kind of like broke stories that he didn't want to. The thing with I know what you're bringing up with Miami, him going to Miami, being a minority owner like Derek Jeter, and I think that still happens after he retires. He will become an owner of some team. But truth be told, I don't believe that at all. He's not even. And it's funny because I don't think anybody's asked him, and I'm sure if they asked him, he'll probably just laugh it off and be like, "Why, in my right mind, would I do that?" Tampa has done everything and anything to make sure he's happy. Signed Antonio Brown. That didn't work out because of Antonio Brown's behavior.
That wasn't on Brady.
Yeah, they wanted to get him offensive line help. They went out and did it. With receiver, they set him up successfully with receiver. They signed Gronk. They bring him over. But I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that story at all. I think he really he loves Tampa a lot.
And the story breaking on Twitter right before we came on the air about an hour or so, Darren Waller rumors to the Packers. I don't buy it.
It's financials. That's what it is. It's financials. And, they just got Devontae Adams. They just gave up a lot for Devontae. They gave him a lot of money. Darren Waller deserves to be paid. The guy is one of the best tight ends in football. His story is awesome. Everything he's been through and overcome it. He is everything and anything you want in a teammate. He's just that good of a guy. And he deserves to be paid. And the Packers, listen, they need help. I mean, you could line them up anyway. They have Robert Tonyan, and they need a number one guy. I think I'll just say this. If it were to happen, that's a big if. I think Aaron Rodgers and Darren Waller, you better watch out because that's something you don't want to see.
See, I don't think the Raiders would have traded for Adams and all that capital and then just to turn around and get rid of Waller. Because with Adams there, he just makes Waller twice as dangerous over the middle. You can't replace that athleticism. Foster Moreau's a nice tight end, but Foster Moreau doesn't have half the athleticism.
Well, Foster Moreau definitely not in the same conversation as Waller, but he's pretty decent. I'll give him that when he's put into action.
He's a good number 2 receiver, but I'm reading Raider fans on Twitter tonight saying, well, Waller's gone, but we got Moreau. Time out. They're not even close.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be just fine. I wouldn't really worry about it. You're going to hear a lot of things this week, and you got to take everything with a grain of salt until it's confirmed.
All right. Lastly, if someone's looking at mock drafts, who's your go-to guy other than yourself? Who's your go-to guy to go check out?
Oh, for breaking news and things like
Yeah,
that? For me, I love Adam Schefter. I love what he does. I think he's the blueprint of what you want to be. He's not perfect, as we have all seen the past couple weeks,
yeah,
but the way he goes about it, I love what he does. He's a inspiration to someone like me to be like that. I love Ian Rappaport too. I love his personality. If you ever see him go on Pat McAfee's show, I love he's just down to earth type of guy, and I really there's a guy for the Athletic. His name is Jeff Howe. He used to write for the Patriots, who I really like. I think he's very, very good at what he does. And listen, this profession that we're in, um, it's tough. You get told things by sources, and it doesn't always happen, so it makes you look
yeah.
bad. But it's all. I feel like it's all kind of a like a fraternity. I never really discredit anybody unless it's just complete nonsense consistently. To me, I'm more about consistency and accuracy than being the first to do it.
Absolutely.
So all those guys are some people during draft week. Also, like you can't go wrong. NFL Network, ESPN this week with the draft have everything covered,
Yeah.
but it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, Bobby. Look, you're one of my favorite follows on Twitter. I like the
I
work you do,
appreciate
and
that.
I
Thank you so
appreciate.
much,
How
and I
can
appreciate your constant support.
how can the readers and anybody listening to this follow what you're up to?
Sure. You can follow me here on Twitter at btoms81. I also right now I just started this for Pro Sports Extra. I'm going to be writing a little bit for them as well for the draft. I write for the Bucks for Bucks Report, so whoever they pick at 27, I'll have that up as well. And I'm going to be posting a lot of videos while I'm in Vegas just to give like a little vlog, make it feel like show everyone what it's like out there, what the draft, everything's going to look like. I'm going to have a lot in store. You're going to trust me. It's going to be a lot. I've never done this before. You're going to get a lot from me this week.
Awesome. Hey, we'll look forward to it. Appreciate you jumping on tonight.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Anytime. Loved being in Pugsley's pit. That was awesome. So, thank you so much for having me and, enjoy. I hope, the Raiders don't have a first round pick, but, the second, they have a second round pick, right? I believe.
No,
No, you
gave it up
don't.
for Devontae.
When are you picking the third?
There, I think that was part of the Raider strategy was to stick it to the NFL, and so the home team didn't have a pick till Saturday.
Yeah.
I think that was part of that deal.
So that's going to be something, but
I've
good.
heard Dave Ziegler not rule out them trying to come up. I don't know what that means. Hopefully, that's not the
Listen,
Waller
Dave,
thing. But
Dave Ziegler is hey, listen, you have my offensive coordinator and my old assistant general manager. They're very aggressive. He's an aggressive guy.
yeah.
Look at what he did in free agency for the Patriots last year. So, you're in good hands. Trust me.
All right, buddy. Have a great night.
You too. Take care now.
Bye now. Bobby Thompson. That was an awesome interview. He's a aspiring NFL insider. He does a great job. Throw him a follow on Twitter. You won't be sorry. Hey, let's go to my world for a little bit. Yes, it is NFL draft. There's my man Josh McDaniels. And Josh, we trust now as part of the Raider Nation. As we were just talking about, no picks for the first couple of rounds for the Raiders. That's okay because their recent draft history has been abysmal up top with the Gruden Mayock team. They had some great gems later. Max Crosby, Hunter Renfrow, Nate Hobbs. Hopefully, we can do it again. Need some low line depth to protect Derek Carr. And you can never have enough interior defensive linemen. Kind of what we're hoping for the Raiders this time around. You could always use another linebacker. They don't ever seem to draft them. Don't know why, but that's the way it goes. And the smoke around Waller, I don't buy it. For everything I just said, you don't trade for Devontae Adams and then move one of the biggest beneficiaries of that move in Waller. It's just it hurts the offense. And to get what, a second round pick, a first round pick, you're not going to get anybody of that quality. So let's sent a message to Coach McDaniels and Mr. Ziegler, stay put, keep what you have. Other thing coming up in my world, the Boston Bruins, folks. It's almost Stanley Cup hockey time. The Bruins have struggled the last couple weeks, but we're getting healthy. Pasternak was back on Saturday. Lindholm came back to pair with Charlie McAvoy over the weekend. They're a great 1-2 punch. Trying to get over Tampa for third in the division, which would pair them up with Toronto in the first round. I think the Leafs could go on a run to get to the Stanley Cup final this year. I think they're good enough if they can handle it mentally. They are not the strongest group mentally. You go back to even last year, they gaffed it against Montreal and screwed that up after a 3-1 lead when everything was right there for them. I'd rather take the Leafs. And you know what? If we finish fourth, looking at Carolina or the Rangers in the first round, most likely. No, we just took care of the Rangers on Saturday for a little confidence builder for the Bruins. So, so we'll see what's going to happen in Beantown. And just, hey, a little shout out for the rest of the week. Tomorrow on Pugsley's Pit, we are scheduled to have Jessica Kleinschmidt, very talented Oakland A's broadcaster. Talk some A's baseball. Kristen Pache, the stadium issue, the lack of fans, all that good stuff. But it's baseball season, so you got some negatives with my athletics, but baseball is baseball. And also, just a shout out on Wednesday, M&M across the board with Eric and Ashley. We are scheduled to have Fluto Shinzawa, the Bruins beat reporter, for The Athletic, to come on and talk some hockey, some more NFL drafts, some NBA chatter, and see what's going on there. And that's about it, folks. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful tomorrow, a great week. We hope to see you all tomorrow when we have Jessica on talking to some Oakland A's. But for now, it's NFL Draft Monday. Hope you enjoy the show. Bye now.